Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's webinar on AI Roleplays. My name is Audrey Morris, and I'm the Marketing Programs Manager here at Intellum. I'll be your host for today's webinar. Before we jump in, I just want to cover a few housekeeping items. So first and foremost, this webinar is being recorded. If for whatever reason you need to jump before the end of the hour, or you want to tune back into a particular part of the program, you will have the opportunity to do so. The recording will be sent directly to your inbox following this session. Second, we do want to encourage you all to participate by way of questions. So you'll see a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Please, throughout the session, submit your questions there. Alton and Varun will be answering those questions throughout the presentation. Next, you may notice that there are a few images on your screen that become blurry. That's because this platform will auto-adjust the visibility of your screen due to your internet bandwidth. However, there is a way to troubleshoot that. If you find the gear icon in the bottom right corner of your screen, you can go ahead and manually adjust that. And lastly, I'd love for you to tune into the attachments section. So there's also an attachments tab below. If you'd like to follow us on our next webinar, you will find the link there. Okay, without further ado, I want to introduce you to our speakers for today. Varun, who is the CEO of Udly, and Alton, who is the AI for Enablement Strategy Lead at Google. I had the pleasure of meeting both of them last week, and I'm so excited for you to have the chance to meet them today. So with that, Varun and Alton, I'll let you introduce yourselves and take over the show.
Woohoo! Audrey, thank you. Alton, maybe I'll kick us off and then hand it over to you and we can go back and forth. First off, it's an honor to be here. We love working with Intellum. Massive thank you for having us. For folks who are on the webinar, I'm staring at Audrey's face and my face and Alton's face. Please ask questions. Is AI bad? Is AI going to take my job? Do AI role plays work? I heard about another tool. How does Google think about this? I don't like your slide. Nothing is off limits. We want this to be interactive and fun and throw us under the bus. The idea is to make this helpful for you. The way we thought we'd structure this is do very quick introductions for Alton and me. And then Alton's the real subject matter expert. He does all of the heavy duty GTM enablement across all of Google Cloud. So maybe Alton, we'll ask you to give a lay of the land of enablement at cloud, the kinds of problems you're facing, where Intellum fits in. And then I can talk about AI role plays and especially how we think about the future of experiential learning. Alton, does that work?
Yes, thanks, Varun.
Perfecto. Okie dokie. In terms of quick intros, my name is Varun. I grew up in India. I came to the US for college. I was actually at Google right after college, though Alton and I did not know each other there. I ran special projects for Sergey Brin, who was one of the founders of Google. Dream job, a lot of really cool exposure. From there, I moved over to Google X, where I worked on a project where we were bringing invisible laser-based internet to rural Africa. Lived there for a while and then quit Google to start Udly, which I will tell you more about in a second. But think of Udly as Grammarly for speech. Alton, over to you.
Thanks, Varun. So hi, everyone. Looking forward to kind of talking with you today about how we're using Intellum with Udly at Google Cloud, the GTM enablement. My role at Google is as the AI strategy lead for enablement. It's how are we using AI to enable our sales teams. My background is in learning and development. I've been in learning and development for over 20 years, and from various different roles, from training managers to e-learning design team, leading e-learning design teams, etc. And at Google, my role, when I started off as a program manager in enablement, and I've worked in various different roles within Google Cloud enablement over the last 6 years, culminating in the AI enablement lead. So really happy today to talk to you about everything that we're doing with Udly and Intellum. As you can tell, Varun brings the high energy. I'm a little bit more sedate.
No, but Alton, that's because I have to. You're basically running all of Google Cloud. You have all of these important tasks. I'm just a startup founder, so I have to compensate for lack of product with good jokes and energy.
Very good, thank you.
Awesome. Right. Cool. Alton, just let me know when I should switch, and I can keep moving through slides.
Yeah, I have control here too. I can advance them, so I can do that too. So we wanted to talk a little bit about what are the challenges facing enablement, and I think these are broader than just Google. I think these are probably facing a lot of various enablement teams or learning and development teams globally. But the ones that we wanted to focus on here are the kind of the ones where we felt that AI in some way was going to help or support or benefit these particular challenges. So first one here is our customer facing teams are growing. They're growing steadily. We have over 10,000 sales and customer engineering teams worldwide. But our enablement teams or our support teams are not necessarily growing as quickly. So scale is an issue. We also have a constant stream of new solutions and products. Some of you may have seen some of the product announcements at Next last week, and that's just a selection of what's being highlighted. But we do have, constant refinement of value propositions, industry messaging, etc. There's obviously the unmet need of consistent messaging and competency. So we have an org of, as I said, of over 10,000 Googlers. Trying to do a kind of a pitch certification with managers, thousands of managers, thousands of users. It's not a simple task to get consistent messaging and competency around that. Okay. We're also looking at success in terms of it's not just knowing material, it's how well you can communicate that material to your customers, which is also a critical important. So sometimes a knowledge check is important, answering a little quiz is great, but sometimes you need to go beyond that. You need to be able to be sure that your sales teams are able to actually communicate your messaging. I think this is a problem that I faced for 20 odd years in the enablement space is the last mile problem. On-demand training and even in-person workshops often stops at the knowledge acquisition stage. We don't necessarily have the time or the resources to go beyond knowledge acquisition. So we're looking for ways to improve that, to actually start developing practical skill. And of course, we're all limited with time. None of us have infinite time. So the ability to give live coaching and feedback at scale on communications, on messaging, is an ongoing challenge, not just for enablement teams, but for managers as well. So with this, the field of enablement being challenged in these ways, we've been looking, and especially my role has been looking at how can we leverage our existing platforms, but also look at new AI solutions that will help deliver on these challenges.
Hey, Alton, can I quickly double down on two things you said?
Yeah.
So fun fact, I was at Cloud Next last week with a lot of Alton's team when they were making these big announcements. Putting both my former Googler hat on and what I saw at Cloud Next were two things were very clear. One, speed is of the essence right now, especially in an AI first world where companies are launching so many new features so quickly. So at agents, at Cloud Next, Google Cloud announced Agent Space. How are they going to train the entire company on something like that? So that's a big challenge, especially as there are multiple iterations. There's one thing to train employees, there's another to train partners. So really, really tough challenge that came up there. And then the second is, I remember the lack of consistency at Google. I had several managers at Google. Everyone had their broader OKRs, but I was getting different feedback across the board. And I've heard from folks across Alton's team as well as end users that it's very, very difficult to have some kind of scalable consistency. So those really stuck out to me.
Thanks, Drew. Before we kind of go further, I kind of want to talk a little bit about how we're leveraging Intellum in all of this, because Intellum has been a key partner for Google Cloud for a number of years, and it really provides us the foundation for our ability to disseminate knowledge and to scale enablement. As I mentioned, we have over 10,000 Cloud Googlers in terms of sales, but the actual org is far larger than that. And we leverage both the Evolve product from Intellum, but also the LMS platform as well. And the areas that we use, and we have been using very successfully for the number of years, is the content creation, creating advanced and deeply engaging e-learning, as well as content delivery. And we leverage Intellum for a quarterly learning plan that we assign to over 10,000 Googlers each quarter. This could be anywhere from between 3 and 10 different courses, depending on roles, depending on focus areas for that quarter. And we also, of course, leverage the tracking and reporting, which helps us to deliver that scale and that accessibility that we've come to depend on in the last number of years as well. I think we have a couple of questions coming in, so I might just pause for a second here. And
we do have a couple of questions. Thanks, Alton. Yeah, I'll read these aloud. So the first question is, I would assume you need to have Udly to be able to use the AI role plays in Intellum. Is that true?
Yep, I can take that. First off, Mitch, it's been a minute. I hope all's well with you. As context for folks on the webinar, we know the Pure Storage team really well. Yes, Udly needs to be turned on within Intellum, but it will be a completely native experience where your learners will access Udly within Intellum. The admins can see reporting within the Intellum dashboards, etc. And when I go into my demo, I can talk about that a little more.
Awesome. Thanks, Varun. The next one's for you as well. Does Udly reach out past the Intellum platform, or is it fenced in within the Intellum instance? Are there any security issues with SSPs? And how do we keep sensitive material safe?
Yep. Super duper question. That's from Jeffrey at Walmart. Hey, Jeff, hope all's well. Short answer is yes, right? If you were to use Udly, the standalone product, you would get your own custom Walmart instance of Udly. Through that, learners can upload files and they can practice interviews and speeches and much more. However, when it comes from Intellum, we can strip out a bunch of functionality and make sure like the DPA, the security, SSO, all of the stuff that the InfoSec team would care about is handled as one complete instance. And that's one of the reasons for the big integration, to make this much easier for your team. And I know at Walmart, InfoSec can be challenging, of course. Alton, anything to add on that?
Only that Google has very high security standards as well. We've put Varun and Intellum through the ringer a number of times to make sure that the product is secure. But of course, every company should do and needs to do their own research and validation independently as well. Okay, so bridging the communication skills gap. So as I mentioned, we've been leveraging Intellum for a number of years, and we've found the platform excellent at helping us deliver really high quality e-learning. We've used the assessment tools, and we've used it for reporting and tracking as well. But we haven't been able to really dig in and deliver at scale a huge, we haven't been able to deliver the kind of scale and the interactivity that we wanted to. And as a result, we were on the lookout for a partner in this area, and working with our incredible partners at Intellum as well. We came across Udly, and we started to explore that relationship and to just talk about, to see what the platform could deliver for us. So with that, I'd like to hand over to Varun to talk you through the platform in a little bit more detail.
Perfecto. Thank you, Alton. Also, Alton was not joking. When he said Google has taken us through the security ringer, Google calls it VSA. Some companies call it AppSec, InfoSec. We've been through this, I think, like 25 times now with Google. There's a question in the chat from Mitch again. If I understand correctly, Udly can be turned on in Intellum, or if our organization already has the LMS. Yes, Mitch, that is correct. So if you ping your Intellum account manager, they can turn it on for you super duper quickly. Awesome. On the Udly section, I thought I'd break it into 3 parts. 1, what is Udly, our vision for learning, etc. 2, some examples of how folks are using it. And then at the end, do a demo showing you how the tech actually works. And obviously, please keep jumping in with questions. So first off, my why in starting Udly is, too many smart people miss out on opportunities because they don't speak with confidence. Like forget Intellum and we love Intellum, but forget Intellum and Google and B2B and enablement for a second. Our business fundamentals are, how do we help the kid in India speak with confidence? How do we help the woman who gets talked over in corporate America get the job she deserves? How do we help the insecure executive find their voice, the salesperson land their dream pitch? That's our why. 2 out of 3 people in the world are afraid of public speaking and communicating, be this at an interview, a pitch, a sales opportunity, a venture capital meeting, whatever. We want to do to speaking what Grammarly has done to writing, what Duolingo has done to language learning, what Strava, Peloton, Apple Health have done to fitness. Think of Udly as a private, judgment-free mirror that will simulate any kind of role play, right? This role play could be GTM enablement, objection handling. It can be new pricing, new packaging, manager training, interview prep. It does not matter. And Udly gives you a safe environment to practice. Where we come in at the enterprise is Udly is completely customized around your methodology. Band, Medic, MedPick, Sandler framework, use the rule of three, smile here. At Google, we call them users, not customers. It doesn't matter. Udly plugs into your systems of records and coaches your reps in your voice. So a couple examples, Google is using us not just at cloud, but across most of the organization. Ring Central, Harness have both done case studies, Snowflake, Databricks, Adobe, Salesforce, etc., all using Udly. So large enterprises. And then we work with many of the world's biggest coaching companies, right? Korn Ferry, Spencer Stuart, Sanders Sales, Accenture, Franklin Covey. Google's using us with corporate visions, etc., where our belief is every company or every training program has their own methodology. Udly will just fold around that and allow you to, one, drive reinforcement, two, drive consistency, and three, make sure learners feel like they're actually having fun while doing this. Alton, anything to add to that?
Sorry, I just need to unmute. Yeah, I think one of the key aspects of Udly is that customization to your corporate voice to really help you tie in your messaging or around your products, your services, anything like that, or even being able to replicate your customers' own voices as well, and replicate the type of objections that you're getting really allows for that kind of experiential learning in a very safe experience in a safe environment. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the use cases. But yeah, just wanted to highlight and reinforce that point.
Totally. And in that vein, the big bet and belief we have is that the future of learning will be completely experiential. Like gone are the days where someone has to do a multiple choice question or like some random quiz or like watch a video on 3x speed that they aren't actually paying attention to be certified. The goal of any of those videos or like quizzes is to be able to have a conversation with someone. How do we make all learning conversational? Which is like, I need to prepare for a career chat. Great. Let me have a conversation with this AI bot that can coach me real time, but can also take my manager's persona. But it can also walk me through what best practice methods might be, grow SPI, etc. Obviously, for this presentation, I'll focus more on the GTM side of things. Cool. Just an example of how to think about the role play landscape. Right? We are building role plays as a service, and it's been super exciting to see enterprises make role plays their own. So examples of use cases. One is sales kickoff, right? How do we reinforce our methodology or our new pitch to all of our reps? We need to do this super quickly. Second, new pricing, new packaging, a new product launch, onboarding and everboarding. How do we make sure we are ramping folks all the time? Partner enablement and partner training, deal review feedback, and then things across the board, right? Manager training, employee upskilling, media training, career transition, external keynotes, medical training. I mean, a really fun one is Mayo Clinic's exploring using Udly for difficult doctor-patient interactions as an example. And where all of this gets really exciting is when you couple it with the partner landscape. So going back to the Google Cloud instance, of course, it's really hard to get 15,000 sellers or whatever the number is to talk about Gemini in the same voice, but with each of the customizations, right? Gemini for the small business buyer, Gemini for the large enterprise buyer, Gemini for the government buyer. But then how do you train your partners, Tata, Wipro, Accenture, Tech Mahindra, who might be on different time zones to speak in that very voice? That's really, really hard. So we have folks using us for customer success renewal conversations, all the way for like executive keynote presentations. And the reason we work with these large Fortune 500 type companies, even though we have companies across the spectrum, is because they can use Udly for a whole host of use cases, all fitting into Intellum, right? The same way I use Intellum for onboarding and certification and compliance and partner enablement. Each of those things comes with a Udly module. Okie dokie. Alton, back to you.
Thanks, Varun. So I just want to spend a little bit of time talking about what the combination of Intellum and Udemy together is delivering for us. Before we get into some of the use cases that I want to talk to you about of how we've deployed Udemy at scale within Intellum. So Intellum and Udemy together allows us to, it's not just about doing what we used to do better or more efficiently or at greater scale. It's actually allowing us to do things that we've never been able to do before. So we've been using Intellum to deliver the what for, as I mentioned, years now, the knowledge, product information, sales plays, etc. But Udemy also now provides a safe space where you can practice the presentation, the pitch. You can even explain, or in some case, even just be able to talk back to the AI to qualify your understanding, to demonstrate your capability, to demonstrate your understanding of a new topic, of a new concept. We're able to leverage it for reinforcement of learning. And we all know, anybody who's in the profession of learning and development knows that the more you can practice something, the better you'll get it, the more the skill becomes reflexive. So using it for reinforcing those key points is essential, and helping us to develop practical skill. So once the workshop is done and we've had a good time and we've all gone home, we've met people, being able to continue on practicing those skills that we learned together in workshops or at events and even on-demand classes is essential to being able to embed that capability into your everyday. And leveraging Intellum with and Udemy together, we're able to start to do that at unprecedented scale. We're also able to see, and one of the use cases, I'm not going to go, not one that we're going to talk about in detail today, but we've actually rolled this tool out to a number of managers and a number of pilots within our S&B organization to leverage Udemy to help. This is outside of Intellum, but to help with coaching. So that they can provide feedback on how calls have gone or how meetings have gone, and then individuals can go and practice that and deliver that scalable coaching as well. Knowledge to action. So because of the new LTI integration, the fact that you can now use Udemy natively in Intellum, we're bringing that gap between practice and learning even closer together. So we really can turn knowledge into action within the flow of our on-demand content, which is really something that's exciting for us to do and going forward. And obviously there's only one reason that we all are here is to see an improvement, is to see a measurable impact that our training is having. And Udemy and the integration with Intellum allows us to do that. We can see now how well somebody is performing and pass that information back from Udemy into Intellum and be sure that our courses, the training that we're delivering is actually landing, which is something I think of a holy grail for the enablement world, for learning and development, is to be able to say, well, we may not be able to attach attribution to every training engagement that we do, but we can say that we know that our salespeople are able to communicate this messaging to a level of effectiveness that we simply wouldn't have been able to do before, really making the conversation for enablement around ROI a much easier conversation to have, because we have demonstrable results as well. Varun, do you want to add anything to that?
No, nothing. I think, that makes total sense. I just put in the announcements. I've never done that before. So hopefully that works. I just put a little link to case studies. I'm sure people have questions around metrics, etc. You'd expect, decrease RAM time. Alton, I think in the Google Cloud case was 92% plus CSAT, 30% higher than average completion rates. We just released a case study with Harness yesterday where 75% plus time of managers is saved in making this happen. So all of the hardcore metrics, we're happy to help you build a business case, etc. are there. And then the second piece is folks have gotten really creative with Udemy, right? Don't just make certifications this boring thing. Like, make it a leaderboard with a contest and a March Madness type bracket and see who wins, and like all of that functionality to gamify it and make learning fun is now part of the platform, and GCP is doing that very well. Alton, there's a question from Jeff, and I can take this, but I'd love your take first. Udly can Zoom AI can be added to a video call and gives feedback with some great metrics. And I think more broadly, everywhere you blink, you hear about some new role play tool. Maybe Gong will have it. Some LMS, CMS will talk about theirs. What prompted Google to go with Udly? Because you all evaluated the entire market, and how do you think about the role plays landscape more broadly?
Yeah, so products like Gone and Zoom. I can't talk about Zoom AI in relation. I'm not familiar with the product to be perfectly honest. Obviously, Google have Google Meet, but in evaluating Gong, you're absolutely right. You can get great metrics from those calls, and feedback on how well you're doing in covering topics and covering things like that. But it's outside of a learning environment to a large degree. You don't get the freedom to practice. You're not going to try new things with an existing customer, not at the scale and that you may need to. You may not want your biggest customer to be the first time you're going to practice or deliver a sales pitch for a new product or a new feature that you're trying to sell to them. So having a purposefully designed tool that is there to help you not only with your knowledge but also with your speech and your pacing and all that type of feedback on how you're presenting, and being able to do that multiple times to perfect the experience is hugely beneficial. And one of the things that we really liked about Udly in particular was the fact that we could give different personas to the potential customers, or even to associates that you may be coaching, or you may be mentoring, or you may be interviewing, for example, and really being able to practice in that safe space and get feedback on an ongoing basis and see your progress and see you improving and delivering your pitch, and then being able to go and talk to your customer and deliver your pitch or your sales. Uh, uh, Sorry, my cat is meowing in the background. I got distracted for a second. But being able to practice that in advance and then deliver it on a call, and then get great feedback from those type of tools like Gone, for example, where they can give you that kind of feedback, and doing that in combination can be of great value.
Can I add to that? I mean, also, I want to address like the elephant in the room. I get this question every time. Like, Varun, why should we go with Udly? One of three reasons, right? Like, maybe we can build this on our own, or the LMS, CMS we are working with told us that they have some role play tool. Like maybe Salesforce has their own. So that's one question. Second is, I blinked and I heard about a cool new startup that's doing AI role plays. How are you different from them? And third, not just Zoom, but Gong, Chorus, Clary, Fathom, Read, any of the conversational AI tools will have call scoring. How is Udly different? And I want to be clear here. One, Udly is not an everything solution. I think a lot of folks are looking for something that checks the box across every part of their tech stack. We very strongly believe that AI role plays are just too important and too powerful to put as a check the box feature, as a result of which we integrate into essentially every ecosystem. Your LMS, your CMS, you need us to be in your CRM. That's also coming live. We've got LTI, we've got SCORM, etc. And in fact, Intellum went through this exact situation. They were like, well, should we build our own AI role play tool? Lots of LMS systems have it, but that's literally just a passive chatbot. If you want something that feels realistic with, multi-persona role plays and multi-language role plays and um, conversations across like multiple admin types and admin provisioning, Udly stands out. Sorry, Audrey, I saw you pop up. Is all okay?
All is well. We do have a really interesting question in the chat that I'd love for us to answer once you're finished.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I think one is buy versus build. If you're looking for something that's check the box, Udly is not your solution. If you're looking for something really deep, that's where we win. The second is, how is Udly different from all of the ChatGPT type clones that has come up? The short answer is enterprise readiness, right? You need to go through responsible AI and security, and you need to have 6 different kinds of SSO. Udly is at the enterprise scale. Most of our customers are the big enterprises. And the third is, what about Zoom, Gong, Clary? I see us very much as playing well together. Udly is the batting cage for you to practice before you go for your game time on Gong. In fact, Udly is now integrating with all of these conversational AI tools saying, hey, you just did your live game time play. Great. We've made a role play for you to practice. We've put that into your CRM. Do that as an action before your next session and so forth. And please ping me directly with like the competitive questions because our approach is to be here. Okay, Audrey, over to you.
Amazing. So we have 2 questions that's come through. How do you measure the ROI of these AI development programs? That's question 1. Question 2, can you add Udly to a live call? Will you be able to get metrics back from the live call?
Yes. Alton, you want to take a stab at 1 and then I can jump in on one, on part of 1 and then 2 as well? Alton, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I can't go into huge detail on how Google calculates ROI on certain programs, but in general, how we look at it is the feedback from the individual from sales teams around things like confidence in delivering the messaging. We also look at consistency of messaging and quality of delivery, which are all metrics that we can get out of the Udly platform as well. We do tie in sales metrics as well as longitudinal kind of ROI calculations. I'm not going to go into that in a huge amount of detail, but the scoring capability that you have within the Udly platform really gives you a lot of options around how you can leverage that scoring so that you can build a case for ROI and you can measure it much more effectively.
Yep, I mean, and it totally echo that. Obviously, you can't give company secret sauce away. The way we think about it is, what's your job to be done, right? So if it's my job to be done is I have 10,000 sellers, I need to make sure that they can answer these 5 questions, saying the right talking points. If they do that, they have improved. Great. So you will go to Udly, you'll create a program, you'll add 10,000 folks to that program. They will practice X number of times. Once they're able to successfully do the pitch, hit all of their talking points, they are certified. Other folks will have ROI metrics like the time spent per manager per week in coaching. If we can slash that by half, spread that across a month, spread that across a year. Okay, wow, Udly's already saved me $500,000. For yet other folks, it would be time to ramp, right? Like today it takes us 4 weeks to take someone from like, I don't know, let's call it, I saw the Walmart Training Academy. Can Udly bring that 4-week window down to 2.5 weeks? Why? Because we save time in terms of scheduling the live training sessions and scheduling the one-on-one with your manager, and you only having one shot at practice. So people pushing it out. Like this is very, very interactive. Think of it as practice and coaching on the go, essentially. And if you want to ping me offline, I think it was Janath. Happy to give you more examples from this. Our case studies page also has bunch of examples from like close rates to number of cold call dials to new deals landed, etc., etc. Jeff asks, you can add Udly to a live call, correct? You will be able to get metrics back from the call. Yes, you can add Udly to a live call the same way you can add Gong, Clary, Fathom, etc. Udly will give you metrics using the rubric in question. Again, in the interest of transparency, that is not a special sauce. If that's particularly what you're looking to do, get a meeting recorder. There are lots of meeting recorders that are commoditizing the space. Udly does AI role plays really, really well. If your thinking is use the call recording just to reinforce Udly, so have the call recording be an add-on, that's how we've thought about that in our product. Cool. Hopefully that helps. Okie dokie. Alton, back to you.
I think we're actually back to you, Varun. I think we're going to have a look and see what the platform actually does.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna get into demo mode. I'll do live demo. One thing to note is we're on this new like video conferencing platform, so it doesn't share audio across. So maybe Alton, you'll have to take on the persona's voice, but the persona does talk back and forth with me. I'll do like a very quick speed run through just so that it can start circulating ideas in folks' minds. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me start with organization content. Can folks see my screen over here? Alton, can I get a yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. At a high level, right now I'm playing around with the admin interface, really, really detailed. I, as an admin, can come in and create any role play, customer support, media training, pitch coaching, skills accreditation. So the future of quizzes, this AI tutor, inbound, outbound, whatever that might be. The world is your oyster here. And then just as an example, right, I created this fun one for Google Cloud. This is not confidential again. You can give the AI a little bit of context. You can upload your files, your MP3, your MP4, your hero pitch, your brand guide, whatever that might be. Udly actually integrates directly with like your systems of records and automatically creates role plays as well. You can give the AI certain goals. You can weigh the goals. The goals can be band, medic, medpic, star method. Did you hit talking point? Did you use a grow method? How did you do on a scale from 1 to 5? How did you do on this compound goal? You can get really, really creative, and you can set that up within seconds. Give the AI a set of objections. So in this case, for cloud, I was like, why GCP over Azure? How do you handle privacy? What is the time to set up, etc. Rather than having boring single persona conversations, like you're really trying to train your reps on how to simulate a real call. So here, I created a multi-persona conversation. Like I'm having this call with like an engineering lead, an investigative journalist I was messing around, and a finance partner. But you can get very creative, right? Where you could literally say, hey, I want you to practice with a procurement person who's really going to grill you, a finance person who's going to ask questions around the finance piece, and your champion. Like, how do you play the room where, you let them speak, they'll interrupt each other, they'll build on each other, and usually will go back and forth. You can do all of this stuff like add time limits. If the buyer is angry, they can hang up on you and make it a lot more fun. I'll show you a couple more things in this vein, and then I'll stop. Right, you can sort your members by groups, etc. You've got org settings where you can change terms of service, privacy policy, all of that stuff within your platform, obviously not through Udly. And then all of the dashboarding, export as a CSV, export into my Plex, my BigQuery, etc. So super, super sophisticated on that front. Alton, anything else to add actually before I move over from Udly into Intellum?
Yeah, I suppose just from a kind of an admin point of view, there looks like a lot here, but it is actually incredibly straightforward to set up. So much so is that we've given like quite a lot of leeway to our own program managers and teams like that. It is, there's a lot you can do with it. It's very powerful, and it's kind of uncanny that the persona, even from like a basic tech term sheet or a basic product overview, how much depth the AI can actually get into. I mean, it's not perfect. It's not. I mean, we have to be. We're all being realistic here. It's not. It's not another person, a human being doing it, but it is very good, and it is good enough to get you to do to really practice, to really exercise that muscle as such. So yeah, I'd say it's probably one of the easier tools out there to get a lot of really good, powerful results from.
Thank you, Audrey. Before we jump into the questions, a couple more things I want to add is hold us to that bar. Like anybody who has ever chosen Udly over like typical enterprise software is because they're like, oh my God, I use it. I set this role play up in minutes. My favorite sales trick is when I'm on a call with someone, I'm like, hey, your role play is ready just here, because like at the core, we started as a consumer tool. Like this should be like Grammarly, Box, Asana, like slick, simple. We've got all of the settings for like super advanced engineering folks who might need like the back-end admin dashboard to do 5 backflips, but it is very, very simple. And I'll show you the demo in a sec as well. Okay,
Awesome.
Audrey, rapid fire.
Yeah, before we jump in there, I'll do these rapid fire in the order that they came in. So question from Jennifer over at HPE. What kind of language capability does Udly support? Can it grade in foreign languages?
Yep. So again, short answer is almost every language. If there's one we don't have, tell us. We'll build that super fast. Here's an example. French, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, launching Thai, Hindi's there. Like essentially, and the big ones we get are like Korean, Japanese, a lot of the East Asian ones, Chinese. Those are all in the platform as well.
And how many personas can you have interact at once?
Honestly, Jeff, I haven't broken the platform with this, but I've done like 5, and the 5 can go like savage. One of the problems when I have 5 is like the AIs are always talking to each other, and then as a seller, I don't know when to practice, which I guess is a real simulation. So short answer is I don't know the exact number, but enough.
Thank you. Kelly has a question. Can you use Udly in 2 different LMSs but have all the same role plays? For example, if internal uses Mind Tickles and partner uses SkillJar.
Yes. So first, public safety announcement. We love Intellum. Use Intellum. Intellum's like go-to for partner enablement, for everything. We have a soft spot for them. But yes, Udly integrates with pretty much every LMS out there, including the ones you mentioned.
And is Udly able to create simulations of our existing tech stack to provide hands-on learning?
Yeah, I mean that's literally the nuts and bolts of Udly, right? Like whatever your tech stack is, like I mean, people have gone really creative. I think at Cloud they'll do like technical demos where you share your screen and Udly will ask questions based on slide number 6. Someone will do like a coding demo and then Udly can ask questions based on that. I won't go into all of those demos right now, but like the world's like what's it? The sky is the view, not the limit. Is my take. Then again, if you want to see more of it, I can jump in a demo. Okay, let me share my screen and actually show you if the tool works. Like we've promised all these things with the caveat that screen sharing audio is not working right now. Okay, So I showed you how to set up a role play, super quick, super simple. This is how it lives in the Intellum ecosystem. By the way, Alton, I didn't use Google. I'm using Nike because this is not confidential. Nike's not a customer. I'm trying to convince them. So let's call this like the Nike Intellum instance. You've got the quiz, you've got the admin thing, whatever. All learners need to do is press this button that says practice with Udly. As soon as they do that, they are taken to this Udly Intellum pop up with no other options, which is just do this role play. As soon as they do the role play, they immediately send back to Intellum. Over here, I've created a little role play saying, Varun, you're a seller. Nike's released this new cool tech woven suit. Sell it to Fred at Foot Locker. Fred is a sneakerhead and he loves Nike, but in the past he's been burned. Make sure you engage in small talk and make sure you hit these 4 talking points. Again, you can customize it in whatever way you want. I gave it some score, quick settings stuff like you can change microphones, etc. You can give the AI the ability to auto respond. You can change their voice. You can let the AI interrupt you. You can share your screen, like lots and lots of more fun things you can do with it. You can change your languages, etc. So I'm going to do the role play back and forth. As you see stuff on the screen, Fred will be talking to you in a near realistic voice. Again, Udly is not meant to replace human training. Udly is an augmentation to it. We're the medical report if you're the doctor. We are, TurboTax if you're the accountant. We will take learners from a 0 to a 6, maybe a 6 to an 8, but we still believe a human in the loop at the end is important. So let me start, and you may not be able to hear Fred, but Alton can talk. Okay, let me press start. Hey, Fred, buddy, good to hear from you. I mean, it's been a minute. The market is eating up these bad boys. My God, the Nike Tech Woven suit, it goes live in a month. It's going to a few select retail partners. You, my friend, are at the top of the list. It has this cool jacket. It's got this cool zipper. I mean, sorry, I'm getting too excited. I can tell you so much more. What's top of mind for you? You get the gist of it, by the way. So like, I could folks hear Fred, Alton, Audrey?
No, but I'll say that the voices are excellent. They are very realistic.
Yeah, so like Fred was basically talking to me. He got excited. He exclaimed at points. You could see the text. But basically, within seconds, I get feedback, right? Where Udly's like, okay, Varun, here's a transcript. Here's how you did on the mechanics of your speech, your tone, pitch, intonation, body language. But more importantly, here's how you did on each of the pieces of the rubric. You didn't hit any of your talking points. We defined success pass as properly hitting it. You tried to talk about the full zip jacket. You forgot the pants. You didn't talk about March 4th. Here's what you did well, poorly. Like it learns from my systems, right? So it's like, Varun, you should have talked about the Dick Sporting Good case study as well. And over here, it's like, well, Varun, I gave myself a passing score of 10% to be certified. I hope nobody ever does that. So in this case, it's like you're complete. The moment I exit, I'm done. But the idea here is, sorry, my practices are completely unique to myself. Nobody can, sorry, there's a fire truck behind me. My practices are totally unique to myself. Nobody can see it, but my scores are visible to the admin. And the moment I press share, that's when my admin can see my final result. A lot more to it. You can customize it a lot more in whatever way you want, but I thought this would be a quick way of giving you just a bit. automatically understands context, gives me title, and gets really, really deep with what I did well, poorly, follow-up questions, my demeanor, and you can choose to turn things on and off, etc. Okay, that was rapid fire, but I want to make sure we have time for questions. Audrey, Alton, anything to add or anything that went wrong with the demo?
No, I think just one thing I would add is that we've had really, really positive feedback from our the users. Apart from the kind of just the realism of the actual interaction has been quite impressive. I mean, it's an AI, but it's not 100%, but it's 85%, it's 90%. And a lot of people have actually said that because the role play isn't like we've done it in workshop environments, we've done it on demand, and in workshop environments you're often sat there and you're doing role plays with other students. This is actually a way of getting expert kind of role play practice without, whereas in a real in a live situation with two students, well, how how good is that practice, how high quality is that practice, given the fact that neither of you are very knowledgeable necessarily about the product. So that is really something that has been, really advanced, the use of this tool within a workshop, a live environment, a workshop environment.
I'll follow up with the questions that are in the chat if we're ready for those. Yeah. Is there a current Udly customer group that is more idea sharing that can foster creativity? That question's from Jeff over at Walmart.
Jeff, there is, Alton's at the top of that list. Once a day I'll get a text from Alton being like, can you build this? And what about avatars? And here are 5 other ideas. So we'll add you to a little group with, some of our most passionate users. In fact, we regularly do enablement dinners as well. We just did one in Seattle. We have a couple coming up in SF in the next few weeks. Would love to invite folks to those. Those are not sales pitches. Those are like meet other cool, GTM folks asking the same questions, and let's just like talk about what's working and what's not.
Yeah, and I'll address, Kelly, your question about the audio. So the AI persona's audio often works. However, this is a limitation of the webinar platform that we're using. So not a limitation of Udly, a limitation of today's webinar platform.
Wait, Audrey, not often works. It should always work. Like, let's
Sorry, excuse me. Thank you for the correction. It always works. Yes, and I've seen it live. I've seen it live.
But Kelly, taking that a step further, right? Like the idea is latency should be really, really slim. I think when you use Udly compared to typical role play tools, you should see that it's really responsive and quick. And taking that a step further, like everyone asks, what about avatars? We have it on the back end. Avatars are one of those things, at least our belief is that, like the VP of enablement is normally super excited about because it's a cool idea. Every time we test it with the end learner, they're like, oh, this is too creepy. Like the lip is moving just 1 microsecond behind the learner. So some tools have included that as like a check the box. Our thinking is whatever we include, like the learner should love and want to interact with. So that's why we don't yet have avatars in. But all of the stuff you expect is coming. In fact, I'll show you something fun before we get to the next question. I got into trouble with Google for doing this. You can get really creative, right? When you're coming up with the personas, you can upload someone's face and their voice and whatnot. When I first pitched to Google, I took Sundar Pichai's stuff and I sent it to them. And I'm like, here, you can pitch with Sundar. And then obviously Google was like, you have to change that. But another side note is one way to build trust with your like buyer, VP sales, whoever, is to just upload speeches that they've done. You can do that immediately and Udly will immediately critique them. So same way you'd have a Gong integration, we have an upload button and it'll score you based on your rubric. Just a fun one.
No
Awesome.
comment.
No comment. Follow-up question. Varun, are you ready to talk about the Udly roadmap? Anything that you're willing to share of the evolution of the product over the next year? Faster responses, different personas?
Yeah. And look, my approach is to be super, super straightforward here, right? Like people want to work with us because like we'll tell you what sucks, what's awesome, build the roadmap with us, file bugs with us. Isha, my co-founder, and I will be on calls. Like we're just really passionate about this. So all of the usual role play stuff you expect, better latency, more avatars, like deeper integrations, should live in every system of record, right? Like HubSpot, Salesforce, etc. All of that is table stakes. Our vision for Udly more is like, let's just transform learning. Like anytime you are training someone, you are onboarding them, they're doing a compliance certification, or you're even coaching them. Today, I have to go to Google Drive, read through this 15-page document on like what was Google's selling point number one. Like, let's change that. Just have a conversation with, in this case, your onboarding guide. And onboarding guide, Alton will be like, okay, Varun, tell me about question number one. Varun, you got it wrong. Do you want to try saying that again? So basically, I can go into like coach and learning mode and then into trainer mode. So that's all of that's in the product, but really making that better. The true dream behind Udly is your private coach that is by your side anytime you're speaking and just has your back, right? Like this is beyond GTM. It's like, I'm at a board meeting. Isha will poke me under the table saying, Varun, shut up. You're getting killed on the revenue slide. I'm at a Thanksgiving dinner. My mom will like nudge me saying, Varun, that joke didn't land. That's Udly. Udly's your coach. So it's by your side anytime you're speaking, like in private, helping you improve. So lots coming in that vein. Actually, Alton, do you want to add to that? Like, what are some other like big feature requests you've been chasing us on?
Oh, I think, well, if we've been chasing you on a number, I think you've built them all now. So you're doing well. We are looking forward to a drive integration where we can provide a larger corpus of data to the model to potentially practice on technical, like going really deep in terms of technical competency with some folks. And that's one of the kind of the main things that we're looking forward to. I think that'll be, that'll really ramp up or amp up the capabilities that we're able to leverage out of Udly and Intellum as well.
Hey, before we go into Jennifer's question, I want to share something super fun. Just because Jeff, you asked me the question, and I enjoy geeking out to this. Like, let's make learning fun. Like that's a goal. Like, let's not make something that's like it's forced and I have to do. So one of the things we are doing in this vein is like gamifying all of learning. This is just on our consumer platform. But imagine if you can do this as skills-based drills for your learners. So now I'm going to get words. I need to integrate words into my story. I'm going to play on Level Monster. The best prank ever is when I met Alton on April Fool's Day and I poked him and I gave him a ticket to India. And Alton looked at me and said, Varun, like, how am I going to go to India? There's not enough hydrogen in this plane to take me there. But then I grinned at him with my mustache and I said, that's actually not a ticket to India. It's a hot dog. The statue you see over there is laughing at you as well. Haha, it's April Fool's. Like, get out of the pocket. Whatever. I'm messing around, but you get the gist of it. I get words in my story. As soon as I hit it, I get a score. Cutesy, fun, consumerish. But now let's change this to GTM, right? Like, it's like sellers, you need to master your pitch. Here are the words to hit. Boom, go. Let's make a game. Or like we've got the leaderboards and the fun social sharing and whatnot, which is one of the things people really enjoy. So hopefully, like this is giving you ideas. Alton, how was my April Fool joke?
Yeah, it's great. Do you want to talk about Jennifer's question?
Yes,
she's been waiting patiently for a while. We should answer it.
Oh, sorry, Jennifer. Short answer is you as the team decide. At the base case, you upload some content, Udly learns from that content and then uses it to give feedback. We have many enterprises that will say, no, our data should not be used for AI training and machine learning. You turn that off. It won't do that. We have many users who individually opt out from it. So essentially, at the admin level, we give you the control, especially at a place like HPE, right? Like they will grill us on all of this at scale, and we want to make sure we're in the clear. Oh, thanks, Kelly. Kelly, by the way, if you go to udly.ai and sign up, there are lots more games. That's not our enterprise product, but like those are the kinds of things we've put into like the enterprise functionality as well.
That was really fun. I'm also really impressed with your improv skills, Varun.
All I do is talk. Like Audrey, I don't have a life. I just keep talking all day long.
I love it. All right, we have a great question from Noel. Can you share an example or demo of the technical skills this platform can help users master? Is this something geared more towards sales engineers, highly technical, or typical sales reps, B2B SaaS products?
Oh, that's a great question. How do I do this? You're putting me on the spot. Okay, let me do a really fun one. I was going to share my screen and do like a live coding project and have Udly ask me questions. The problem is I'm not an engineer and I would like show you my entire GPT history, which would be, I'm in the middle of a fundraise, so that's not a good idea. But yes, you can share your screen and go through any technical demo at whatever length, right? Like talk me through a systems architecture diagram, or share your screen and show us how like Snowflake's database works. And then Udly as a buyer or as a persona could be a manager, it could be a non-technical person will ask questions around everything that's on your screen, and you can go real time being like, oh, I deleted this message, what about the next line, does hello world work, etc. So yes, 100%, you can go use it, you can try it out real time as well. Actually, I should probably put the link to Udly.
Amazing. Well, I'm going to encourage you all who have tuned in to add your questions. We have 4 minutes left. Thank you to all who have asked questions, and thank you, Varun and Alton, for being so ready to answer them. I also want to encourage you all who have tuned in to give us your feedback. So at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see a feedback tab. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love for you to give a rating of this session, and also share anything that you'd like to hear more of. We'd love to follow up.
I think Jeff made a note about Walmart's really enjoying using Udly. Jeff, we love working with Walmart, and I think that's a great example, right? Like Walmart is a big company; it doesn't get bigger than Walmart. There are obviously security questions, and Jeff pings us every couple of days. The idea is like we're just improving the tool together, and we're being flexible. But if we're working with like super techie company from like a Google and a Snowflake and a Ring Central to a company that's been around for much longer, like a Walmart, like we are flexible across the spectrum. The Walmart's also very techy, actually. Jeff is one of our power users.
I love it. Well, I'll give it a few more minutes we got a new question. Nope. Kelly, thank you so much for your feedback.
Kelly, 100%, we pay Amplitude lots of money, so it's only fair that Amplitude use Udly. And I promise you what Amplitude charges Udly will be more than what Udly charges Amplitude. Our pricing is very, very reasonable. Obviously, we won't talk about that here. Okay, we can.
Any other thoughts, questions, comments? Please add them to the chat. If not, we'll wrap up.
Or maybe, Alton, I'll put you on the spot last minute. What's the future of enablement?
Experiential learning, and Udly and Intellum are definitely part of that future for us.
I promise that wasn't scripted. I promise, swear to God.
It wasn't, but I expect my next thing on my roadmap to get done ASAP.
I haven't stepped in like weeks working on it. I'm joking. Udly's not like just me in my garage. Like we have a team, and like you'll get a customer support rep and SLAs and whatnot.
No, the team has been fantastic, actually, I have to say.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for your time, your energy, your enthusiasm, your insight, everything that you brought to us today. Thank you so much. And we will follow up. And for all of you who tuned in, thank you so much. We will see you on the next webinar.
Huge thank you to Intellum. Like Intellum is really, really pushing the frontiers. So massive thanks for having both of us as well, and pumped for the partnership.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.